What's up YouTube, Webberz05 here, coming at you today with my top 15 favourite monsters. Now before we get into the video, some of you might be wondering, Webberz, why did you pick the number 15? That's a good question. The answer is, because there are 14 different kinds of monsters, and then naturally I've got my overall favourite, so 15 in total. So that's why. Also, another thing before I get into the video, I apologise for the background noise, that's just my air conditioning unit going, but it's very hot today, so forgive me. Forgive me, but I need it going, otherwise I'd be sweating buckets. Okay, so I'll start with my 15. Let's get started with the 15 favourites. So, starting off with my favourite Link monster, which if most of you would not be able to figure out, it's pretty obvious if you think about it. Obviously, my favourite Link monster is Heavy Metaphor's Electromite. For main obvious reasons, this was the best Pendulum Link that we ever had. Some might argue just say that Selena's better. That's debatable. But back when we got Electromite, this helped improve the deck so much for us. Gave us additional resources, a free draw, let us looped with Astrograph, which subsequently got him banned. This led to so much stuff getting banned, including itself, but still. Definitely have to say, Electromite's got the special place in my heart, that's why it's my favourite Link monster. Okay, as my favourite Pendulum monster, most of you might think, as I'm an Endymion duelist, it's probably Endymion. It's not. Some of you might argue to say it's Astrograph. Astrograph is definitely up there, but he's also not my favourite. My favourite Pendulum monster is actually Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon, the original Pendulum monster. So guys, I got into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2014 during Duelist Alliance when Pendulum started becoming a thing. I checked out the anime and I'm like, Pendulum looks like such a fun mechanic, I want to try this. And then Duelist Alliance came out as a thing. I decided to build Pendulum, and that's basically what got me here today. And so, Odd-Eyes has always just had that special place in my heart. He's my favourite Pendulum monster. I also have every single English print of Odd-Eyes as well, which makes me kind of happy collection-wise. Yeah. Next, moving into the Xyz. My favourite Xyz monster, some of you might not be able to guess because I've never actually played it in any of my decks. It's a very old school Xyz monster, but my favourite Xyz is Black Ray Lancer. So this is my favourite Xyz monster because I absolutely loved watching this thing in the anime. And when it got printed as a card, I'm like, this is cool, I would like to play this, but its summon conditions are so difficult. It requires 2 level 3 water monsters, which isn't exactly very common now. I can't even think of an easy way to do this. I can't even think of any current combos in competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! That could actually make this thing viable. Well, with the exception of using like the new Shark stuff, which is of like the Lantern Shark, Buzzsaw Shark, which lets them use themselves either as level 3 or level 5. Level 3, 4, or 5 monsters for the Xyz summon. So, that's one option, but yeah, I really like the concept of Black Ray Lancer. His artwork's really cool as well. I just kind of wish he was in a higher rarity than Super. But still, he's pretty nice. Next into my favourite Synchro monster. So my favourite Synchro, he's kind of a bit on edge because he's not technically a full Synchro. My favourite Synchro monster is a Synchro Pendulum. It's Nirvana High Paladin. So he's my absolute favourite Synchro monster because he lets me think back to the days of it was Dark Illusion format, so that was 2016, because that was like my favourite format of Yu-Gi-Oh! And this card is the reason why it was my favourite format of Yu-Gi-Oh! For those wondering why, because I was playing Nirvana High Paladin Turbo. That deck was so easy to make. So the concept of the deck was you just use the Odd-Eyes Magician engine with Performer Pals. Perform Pals had so many easy level 3s. Because of Noble Dragon Magician, you could make level 7 Dragon Synchros very easily, so this card was a very easy thing to spam. And then when we got the structure deck for Felgrand, we got the addition of Return of the Dragon Lords, which actually lets you res a level 7 or 8 dragon from your graveyard. I found a way to loop this of summoning 3 of them in a single turn, simply by just doing activate Pendulum Summon 3 level 3 Pendulums, activate Return of the Dragon Lords, bring back my dragon. Synchro to Nirvana, effect, add back return, rinse and repeat. I didn't have to, it was kind of overkill, but it was just kind of fun to do. And frankly, Nirvana High, I love all of his abilities. fact that he can be synchro summoned without a tuner monster. I remember one game I had that I actually did summon this thing without using a single tuner, even for the dragon. Because I remember the game quite well, because I just activated Pot of Desire. I was in a desperate situation, so I was like, okay, Desires, banish 10, draw 2. My banish was absolutely horrible. I banished all 3 copies of Odd-Eyes Pendulum Dragon, and I banished Noble Dragon Magician. I had like no tuners whatsoever. I'm like, okay, how am I gonna get around this? So I'm thinking this through and I'm like, what can I do? Ooh, I have level 7s. This is what I'm doing. Overlaid into Absolutes. Got rid of Absolute rid of Absolute for whatever play I was doing at the time. Then Absolute's effect to summon out Meteor Burst, Pendulum summon to level 3. Made Nirvana, and then just pretty much went from there, which gave me the game. His Pendulum effect I don't think I've ever really used, because I don't really get to the point that he gets destroyed and I put him in scale, but still, it's got really cool effects, and I absolutely love it. Another reason I like Nirvana High Paladin was because at the time of the Dark Illusion, we had a sneak peek. I entered the sneak peek and I went EXO, won the mat. That was the first sneak peek I went to that I went EXO for the entire thing, and so this card's just a nice reminder of the memory I had of that. Okay, so then my favorite fusion monster. This was a bit of a difficult decision for me to make, because there are so many good fusion monsters out there I love. It's also a very difficult decision to make, because fusion is probably the most prominent extra deck summoning method, as it's been around the longest. But I had to give my favorite fusion monster spot to Evil Hero Inferno Wing. So the reason this card's my favorite is back to the video games. I think it was Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship 2008 when Evil Hero got added into the game. That was one of the decks I was playing. I eventually turned it into Dark Gaia Turbo, so I could argue that Dark Gaia is one of my favorites. He is one of my favorites, but I really like Inferno Wing a bit more. Inferno Wing's just... I did like the original Flame Wingman from the anime, and then Inferno Wing was just like, this thing's Flame Wingman, but better. That's why I like it. Also, when it got printed, it got an ultimate rare print. Guys, this thing's absolutely beautiful in ultimate rare. And yeah, and also now in current Yu-Gi-Oh! I have the ability to play this in my Evil Heroes, because now it's consistent wise thanks to Evil Hero Infernal Devicer, which lets you reveal a hero in extra deck and just add the materials for free. So, gives me a nice little reason to play this again. And I'm really happy that I can. I also want to say a big thank you to Dark Magician 84 for helping sorting me out with this. At least I think you might have been the one to sort me this. You might not have been, but still, thank you very much, man, for also helping me out just building Evil Heroes as well. Next, Ritual Monster. This was a bit of a this was a slight difficult one, because I haven't really played ritual-based decks in the past. I did Incantation Necros for a bit, then I got bored. I still got the core in case I wanted to use it again, but I haven't felt the need. But actually, my favorite ritual monster is Odd-Eyes Gravity Dragon. So this takes me back to Bosch formats when they changed the things in the boxes so that we got foil in every pack. And then when I saw Gravity Dragon, I'm like, this could be cool, this could be fun. And back then, he was quite consistent, because we had just had the Pendulum Structure deck, so we just had Skullcrobat Joker released at we just had Skullcrobat Joker. So I think at that point we had pretty much just got the when Bosch came out. Oh no, wait, it was a few weeks after Bosch when we got that emergency ban list. But yeah. So the emergency ban list hit Skullcrobat Joker to 1, but kind of needed to. Same with Monkey Board as well. Anyway, yeah, Joker got hit. But so, this card was so consistent back. This card was actually pretty consistent back in the old plays of playing Odd-Eyes Magician, Odd-Eyes Performer Power Magician, because you had Skullcrobat Joker that could search it, you had Sky Iris, because you had the option of doing things like Foolish Burial for Noble Dragon, and Odd-Eyes Advent, the ritual spell lets you ritual summon a dragon from your grave, so another consistent way of doing it with that. This was just so much fun to play. Also, the other fun thing I liked doing with it back in the day, it's just an option of summoning it when your opponent's at less than 500 life points so that they can't activate anything. That's very fun. Another option was, we also had Red-Iced Flare Metal Dragon, and dropping both of these at once, so it's not like, cool, you gotta lose $1,000 if you want to play a card. It was just a nice way to put my opponent under pressure. Also, back row was starting to become a bit more prominent back then, because around the point when this got released, Paleozoic was a bit of a thing. So I was like, some of this effect, bounce your back row, and you can't respond, and then it was just smack the game from there. But yeah, Gravity Dragon has definitely been one of my favorite ritual monsters, and if there was a consistent way that I could play him again, I would. But now he's not as consistent, unless I'm playing an odd ice deck, which even then it's still meh. Okay, next, my favorite normal monster. Okay, so I don't actually have the card. Oh, I actually found out I don't have the card. I did. I don't know where it's gone though. But my favorite normal monster is Alligator Sword. So this card is just kind of nostalgic for me from the original Yu-Gi-Oh anime. It was a Joey card, which was very cool. I liked it in the video games as well. I remember it was a normal monster that was very easy to get at the start of most video games. So when I picked it up, I was like, yeah, I'm just going to throw it in my deck. And then it just kind of became a favorite vanilla for me. I think the main reason I like it is just its flavor text. For those who don't know the flavor text of Alligator Sword, this is also going to be my best attempt at a Joey / Brooklyn accent. Its flavor text goes, "Hey, this is Mighty Lizard Man switching his sword faster than the speed of sound." That was such a great flavor text of what they did. I really liked that in Joey's world. They just added, for all the normal monsters that came out in Joey's world, for the flavor text, they just gave it a bit of flavor text in a Brooklyn accent, which was very fun to use and to read. Okay, so next monster on my list is my favorite Gemini. This is another card I don't actually own, but still holds a place for me in here. My favorite Gemini is Red Eye's Archfiend of Lightning. So my reasoning for him being my favorite Gemini is because of Duel Links. So on Duel Links, guys, I don't use it too frequently, but back when I was really into my Duel Links, I still actually do have the deck. I played Red Eye / Dragon Turbo, and Red Eye's Archfiend of Lightning is just such a fun Gemini to summon. Because in Red Eye's deck, you can send it off so many ways and then bring it back with one of your res cards. Then just normal summon it when you get the chance. And then in Duel Links, it's just like, because of how the CPUs are like, you're just like, okay, I'm going to casually set this monster as a bait, wait for them to summon something. Just like, okay, Archfiend, nuke, smack for 25. Archfiend, nuke, smack for 25. It's just such fun. And he still is fun. That's why I like him. Also, Summon Skull's like another classic nostalgia from back in the day, and this cool retrained form of him is nice. Okay, so from there, going into my favorite effect monster. Some of you might not guess what this is. This is another card from back in the days of my old decks. My favorite effect monster has to be the giant negating chicken, Miss Valley Apex Avian. Dropping this back. Because back in the days of full-powered Pendulum Magicians, after we had the structure deck, I discovered people playing this card. I'm like, okay, why are they using this? I'm like, negates, bounces itself, re-pendulum summon. Oh, that's just great. Then I picked this up and was like, this is so much fun. Yeah, I got a lot of hate for me playing this card, but I didn't really care because I was winning. Then the card got errated to once per chain, which isn't terrible, but makes sense because of how it was originally worded, so it's fine. But yeah, it's very much fun. I would be playing it in my pendulums now if the thing was a bit more consistent, but it's not. I mean, I think I found the way people are finding it consistent now is playing it in tandem with doing Halka Fibrax to summon a Blackwing Tuner, then to go into the Smorg Link, leave at least 7 back row zones open, special summon this, then also doing something with like and then also doing a play of like a Union Carrier to equip the Thunderbird, so you just get infinite negates. Infinite negate with Thunderbird is fun as well. Can be played around, but not easily. But yeah, definitely have to say Apex Avian is my favorite effect monster. I've had so much fun with him back in the day, but simultaneously I've had an equal amount of time breaking with him in the day. Next on the list would be my favorite Toon monster. This is another card I don't actually own, and that would have to be Toon Dark Magician Girl. This card just holds a place for me because of the other Alex Webb that I know at my locals. His Toon deck kind of revolved around Toon Dark Magician Girl. It was a really fun deck, nice to play against. I also just like that she's the only Toon monster that can attack on the turn that she summoned, so that's kind of what gives her my advantage over every other Toon monster. no big reason for it then. Okay, so from there, going into my favorite spirit monster. So this was a pretty easy one for me. All I had to do was think into goat format. This is definitely my favorite spirit monster from goat format and in general. That would have to be Yugioh. This spirit monster is so good back in goat. For those who have not played goat format, what is wrong with you? Just start playing goat, it's fun. Yugioh is just so good because it lets you recycle all your flip effect monsters, which is absolutely amazing. Recycling Magician of Faith, Magical Merchant, it's just so much fun. And it was also just a great way of getting around Thousand Eyes Restrict, or even manipulating your own Thousand Eyes Restrict to do it as many times as you want. It's like, okay, Thousand Eyes, eat your thing. Yugioh, book my own thing. Bounce this. Flip it back up, steal something. It was fun. Really, really good, and still, Yugioh's one of the favorites. Next, going into my favorite Union monster. This is another card I don't actually own, but my favorite Union monster is Y Dragonhead. So this brings me back to the video games of the World Championships on the DS. When I played the 2007 version on the DS, one of the decks, I kind of had a random assorted deck, but I remember Y Dragonhead was in it. I think it was semi because of his stats, because they were averagely good back then. And I think the main reason I just liked him was because the attack animation was a plasma cannon, which was pretty good. And that's probably why I had to say I like Y Dragonhead. As to why I played Y Dragonhead as opposed to any of the other XYZ monsters, I think it's just because it was a dragon. And I liked cards that looked like dragons back then. Okay, so next on the list is going to be my favorite flip monster. Now this was a bit of a difficult decision for me to make. There are so many good flip monsters out there that I find very fun. Magician of Faith, naturally, and Goat is very fun, particularly in tandem with Yugioh, as I previously mentioned. Magical Merchant's another one. But I have to say, my favorite flip monster has to be Cyberjaw. When I discovered that Cyberjaw was legal in Goat, I'm like, dude, why am I not playing Cyberjaw? I want to play this thing. Just the concept of Cyberjaw is so much fun. Let's flip, nuke the board, flip the top 5, special summon all your monsters and add the rest to your hand. This card's just free resources and it's so much fun. Why can't this card come off the ban list? I would very much like to be in a position to play Cyberjaw again. And it's not like flip monsters are actually very good right now anyway. Come on, Konami, just release the jar. It's fine. It's not a big deal. They're not going to do it, but still, I can try. Okay, so next on the list, or slightly last on the list in terms of the classifications, would be Tuner Monster. So my favorite tuner, I'm also not playing in any of my decks, but it is still my favorite tuner nonetheless. My favorite tuner monster is Performer Power Odd Eyes Synchron. So I like him for the reason of his art. I like his artwork. He looks really cool and interesting. He's a pendulum tuner, which I really like. But the main reason I like him is just his name. Like, when I first saw this card get released, when I first saw this card released in the anime, I took a look at this, like, Perform Power Eyes Synchron. This is not a name. This card's just an archetype. This card's just an archetype name. Because it's a Performer Power, searchable by all the Performer Power methods. It's an Odd Eyes, searchable by those methods. And then it's a Synchron as well, so you can do, tuning for this. Like, this first got me, like, interested in it got me just, like, interested in thinking about what other cards are in this position of, like, this card's not exactly a card. This card's name isn't a name, it's an archetype. But since then, we've had quite a few monsters which basically had their names become archetypes. Like, originally, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon was its own name, then Odd Eyes became an archetype, and then with the release of the Cosplay Magicians, Pendulum Dragon became an archetype, which subsequently turned Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon into a name which is just an archetype, which is quite interesting. But yeah, I might do a bit more research into other cards which I can know that are just archetypes. Oh, Rocket Synchron, that's another one. It's a rocket and Synchron. But yeah. I did try back in the day as well of doing Odd Eyes Synchron for his monster effect of synchroing with something in your pendulum zone, but it didn't come up too frequently, but still been an interesting card nonetheless. Okay, so that's it covering all the classifications. Now onto my overall favourite monster. Some of you might not be able to guess what this is, but for some of the guys who know me from my locals, and for those who pay attention to what I'm wearing around my neck, which you actually can't see because it's fallen down, but for anyone who was paying attention earlier, my favourite overall monster in the game is Buster Blader. So my reasoning that I like Buster Blader so much is when he first got dropped in the anime, he was such a cool looking monster. His sword is absolutely insane. He had a decent effect, nice stats. And also when I first got into the game back in really old Yu-Gi-Oh, lots of people were playing Dragon decks, and this was like just a way to like slaughter them, which was great. Another reason Buster Blader is my favourite card is when I first started the game. I think I remember this was like one of the first foil cards I ever pulled from a pack. I pulled an Ultra Rare from Pharaoh's Servant. And then I recall shortly, like a few months after that, I lost it and I was absolutely devastated. I was so upset. But then a few months ago I decided I'm going to have to start looking for this again. And conveniently, my friend Aaron of Jam Jam Cards had an original first ed on his eBay, so I bought that off him. And I just have to say, Aaron, thank you so much for reuniting me with my favourite card in my favourite print. Thank you so much. So yeah, Buster Blade has always just held a nice special place in my heart. Video games as well. He had a really cool artwork and attack animation, which was really cool. And then also, again, anime primarily, when he got dropped and then fused with Dark Magician to make Dark Paladin, that was just an insane episode. Probably Clash of the Colosseum is probably one of my favourite episode arc bits of the Yu-Gi-Oh series, and Buster Blade is pretty much the reason why. Because Buster Blade just makes everything. Because frankly, I've seen in most times when Yu-Gi drops Buster Blade just makes everything better against a Dragon Duelist. Okay guys, so that's my favourite monsters in the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down in the comments what you thought. Also, I'd be interested to know in some of your guys' favourite monsters. And if there's any other top videos that you'd like to see, do let me know in the comments as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Webberz05, and if you're already subscribed, feel free to hit that notification bell so that you never miss an upload.